Hey all, this is O this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review yet again. And once again, my children films continue. We are getting closer to the end of this current bout, but this time it is one that I've had in my possession for a little while, but not on Blu-ray, and that is Happily Never After. Now, as you can see, Happily Never After, some people would go, why this movie? We heard it wasn't very good and, wasn't that great. And truth be told, yes, this movie was not well received. It was boosted that it was by the producers of Shrek, which, it was because a lot of the producers were from the current type of film company, which I believe there's like several here. Like, yeah, well, Lionsgate for one, Odyssey, Vanguard. One is actually Berlin movie company, stuff like that. So there's a lot of companies. Sorry, I was trying to read where it was from. That did this movie. This movie was a huge like German, Irish, American collaboration. So a lot of thought went into this film, and maybe that's what made this film suffer a bit, was a lot of the international flair. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it was just too much of like Shrek and fantasy films at the time, which I admit was true when Happily Never After came out. You had believe up to Shrek 2, Shrek the Third. You had I think the first Kung Fu Pandas that came out, and a lot of other things. Possibly 2007. I know there was a lot of films back then that were very similar to one another to this particular film. And with Happily Never After, personally, I enjoy it. I think it's a good movie. It's not great. It's not the greatest film, but it has its moments. I mean, it's funny. It's entertaining. It's got a lot of good actors in it. And, it's just a downright good stuff. Downright good stuff. With similar voice actors that we all know and love. Like a lot of the voice acting cast from Rugrats, I believe, was in this. Like Katsuchi is a big one. Phil Proctor. You have SpongeBob alumni voice actor Tom Kenny doing some of the werewolves. It's just, there's a lot of good, side stuff too you can learn about this film. And basically, the film starts off like any other. We have a narration, but it's Rick, who is voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr., who, it's him right there. Sorry for the glare. That's Rick right there. That is him. Rick is voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr., who does a pretty good job, who's actually, quite the guy who, doesn't fit in. He's not like any fairy tale character at all. He's basically just a dishwasher, and he explains how the fairy tale characters are up here, even the ones who get their happy ending, and people like him are just down on the bottom, where everybody forgets about them, and no one pays them any mind, any attention, or whatnot. They're basically just the forgotten abouts. And Rick, just being the dishwasher, is nothing. And he explains how the wizard, who is voiced by George Carlin, how he does his work, how he makes sure he goes through everything and has every fairy tale story in fairy tale. It's either, I think it's Fairy Tale Land. And Fairy Tale Land, how it gets set up and what he does. Making sure all the happy endings are in place, making sure everything goes smooth and well. No problems. That everything has its balance. Because in his lair, the wizard's lair, there's the scales of good and evil. So one side outweighs the good, another side outweighs the evil, and you get to see that play out in a great sort of balance, which you think would sort of be, a proper point to it, which would make sense. And he has two assistants, Monk and Mambo. Monk is the pig right there. Mambo is the cat lynx thing. Played by a great comedic duo. They've worked a lot on their own separate films, but they were brought together for this one. They were brought together for Happily Never After. Wallace Shawn and Andy Dick, who are tremendous voice actors, and Andy Dick's done several good movies where he's had a lot of good stuff in it. Andy Dick, if you remember, played the bunny from Hoodwinked, who did a great job in that, and he was also really good as Mambo. Wallace Shawn, who anyone would probably recognize. I'll go back and redo it because I know I didn't add it. Or wait, no, I did do that. You guys probably remember from my Toy Story review. Wallace Shawn did the voice of Rex, and I have a few more handful of films that he's done too in my possession. And Wallace Shawn is just another great actor, great comedian, and we all love what he can do as well. It's that voice. He's got that great voice that can fit these goofy but yet lovable characters. And there's assistants, and they look after him. And Monk is basically the guy who does everything pitch perfect at work. He follows everything in order and is by the book, like how I can be at work, and I know some of my coworkers. And heavens, sorry, long day of work. Speaking of which, but he does everything by the book. And Mambo, he wants to jazz it up. He's tired of the stories ending the same way, having the same outcome, so he wants to spice it up by tipping the scales. So Monk and Mambo have a lot of fights, and the wizard has to watch over both of them, because basically, whether you're Monk, whether you're Mambo, you're one of the bumbling ones. And anyway, you have Rick as the narrator transition then into Cinderella, or as she's called in this one, Ella. And Cinderella, or Ella, whichever you prefer, is at her house doing the chores, doing what she really does, basically the slave labor work. And Ella is voiced really well by Sarah Michelle Gellar. And as you can see, Ella is the middle character right there in the globe, or crystal ball. And Sarah Michelle Gellar gave a lot to the character, and they did a lot together. Sorry, I should have clarified that. Not just they. She did a lot for her character and made it entertaining. And I found out watching the special features and the audio commentary that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. were the two only actors to perform their lines in the studio. So they bounced off and worked off to each other. So the chemistry in the movie was really good. And that was a great thing to see, because when you see Sarah Michelle Gellar bring out her best, it's really good. I've not seen her version of The Grudge. I have seen Ju-On, but I've not seen her version of The Grudge. But I heard she was really good in that. She's really good in Scooby-Doo. Obviously, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's several other really good films she's been in. Sarah Michelle Gellar is one of those actresses who I think hasn't gotten her complete due, but she's been in a lot of good stuff. And, we see what she does, Ella, at her house. She does all the slave labor and all the work. The stepsisters being these unappealing, little ugly, people, just, being mean to her. And as does her stepmother, who really never had a name, but in this movie they give her a name. Her name is Frida. And, oh my, Frida is brilliantly voiced by Sigourney Weaver right there. That lady there. And what can I say? In my opinion, Sigourney Weaver has the best performance in this movie. She plays the villain or the over-the-top mean person so well. And she's great at Frida. She basically somehow, on the way to the ball with her daughters, she overhears, Monk and Mambo fighting because they were fiddling around. They knock the crystal ball off the pedestal from the scales of good and evil. They Monk and Mambo made a mess of things, and Frida overhears this. She goes through up the top of all those stairs to the top of the tower. She actually tries to trick Monk and Mambo. She gets his staff away from Monk, and she starts to cause the panic with all the villains that everybody can see because she has the power on her. Before that happens, though, Ella actually heads to the ball, and she tries to impress the prince, who, actually, yes, he is on this cover here of the movie. The prince, don't know if you guys see him, try to maybe just figure it out there. Yeah, he's that guy right there on the horse. That is the prince, who I thought didn't have a name, but I remember while watching this movie his name, Prince Humperdinck. And she wants to go to the ball to marry Prince Humperdinck because she likes how he looks. He's a stereotypical pretty boy guy with the long hair, long blonde hair, the great looks. But the thing is he's a dullard, and he's basically all muscle and no brain. And Patrick Warburton plays that pretty well in this movie. Not one of Patrick Warburton's best roles, but he does a great job as the prince. He does a great job as, being over pompous. Once again, he has some of those yelling spots that he does. He has his over-the-top reactions, which are always good. And, he does a very good job in this movie. So I got to give Patrick Warburton his good credit, too. But, the prince is basically this guy who's completely thick. Basically, what happens is Ella goes to the ball. She's all dressed with a ruby slipper. She had a fairy godmother help her out with the work and everything. Frida sees this, and Frida cuts Ella's night short. Like, Ella's costume just completely disappears except for the ruby slipper, which Prince Humperdinck takes. And Ella's right in front of Prince Humperdinck, but Prince Humperdinck doesn't even know that's her in front of him. And he's like, have you seen where that maiden went? That fair maiden who looks like you, but had the pretty dress on and everything. Like, Prince Humperdinck in this movie is very, very thick. Like, he's basically, he has a kind disposition. He's very sweet, but you can tell, like they mentioned in the special features of this movie, he was very spoiled. And that basically is the start where Frida starts to gain all the power. She starts fiddling with all the fairy tale creatures. She causes the prince to wake up Sleeping Beauty to fall asleep, for Rapunzel to fall out of the tower so the prince can't get to her, for the wolves to eat Little Red Riding Hood, for Rumpelstiltskin to also get the baby that he wanted from the one woman. And, everything goes bad. And Frida's in complete control, which sends the characters Prince Humperdinck, Monk and Mambo, Ella, and Rick off on this wild goose chase to try to stop her, to, find the prince, save the day, to get the fairy tale book back, the staff back from Frida, to take back the tower, the castle, and all those just great moments. And, it really is that, that sleight of hand and switch on the fairy tale creatures. Because what if the villains could control the power? What if they could get everything they want and just fiddle with things in the fairy tales and, have the outcomes come out on top? And also you learn that the villains are like everybody else. They're maybe just not as bad, but, they just do bad things. And that's what they also got across to this movie, too. And all in all, I mean, the movie has a lot of great moments. It's really, funny. The things that Prince Humperdinck does in this movie are great. Like, he sees a tall mountain, looks at his horse, he says they're going to have a hard ride, and then he's carrying his horse up the mountain. You have Ella being chased by the werewolves, where he runs into the 7 dwarves who are battle ready and battle tested. They're always, like, ready for war. They're just looking at his, like, huge war stuff, and it's so great to see how, like, war-torn the 7 dwarves are. They're just, like, ready for battle and ready to, like, initiate stuff in the army. And another thing that I had to say originally for me was a turn-off for Happily Never After was how the animation was. Because the animation, it doesn't look that great. To Shrek, to, like, Toy Story, Incredibles, Finding Nemo, a lot of these good animation stuff. It doesn't look as good. But the director, who I believe is, Paul J. Bulger. Paul J. Bulger said that this movie wasn't supposed to look like a really huge, great movie. Like that, well, one, that wasn't the point he wanted to make, and two, they did have a limited budget to make this movie. This movie was also not a huge budget movie, so they only had so much to make things work. But more importantly, he also said he didn't want it to be like the other conventional movie. He wanted this movie to have a ability of like almost claymation type of effect, and I think he put in, got that out really well for this movie, because this movie has, pretty good CGI, but once again, it's playful. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. And, knowing that and knowing what they try to create and all the funny moments in this movie, my opinion on it raised since the first time I saw it, because I'm like, I thought it was good, but, it wasn't as great. Like, I originally just thought it was okay, but now after I've seen this movie, like, 2-3 more times, I believe this is the third time I've seen it, I've looked back on it and realized, this movie's actually really good. It is, once again, another underrated gem. It's not as high as some of the other films. I still give this movie my lowest score on good, because basically, if you're a 5 and a 6, like, you're an okay movie. If you're 7 through 10, you're a good to pretty good movie. And I say this movie was pretty good, so I give this movie a 7 out of 10. Once again, not a great movie to be like an 8 through 10, but that midpoint that I like to call the pretty good, which is 7, so I give it a 7 out of 10, because it's still pretty good. It's got a lot of good comedy, a lot of good stuff, and I really think, they gave this movie a pretty good shot. And what we know about it is, it's a fun movie, not to be taken itself too seriously, and it's just like, what can happen when a plain old dude mixes with a fairy tale character, mixes with two bumbling people that are supposed to be looking after the fairy tales, and when evil takes over. That's the main point of it. And all in all, I enjoyed it. This is a good movie. I know a lot of people say another down is that they didn't get a lot of use out of George Carlin in his comedy. The thing is, though, George Carlin even says in the special features, he accepts that it's just for fun, plus the fact that he's never, done straight up acting. He was happy that he had at least support and, lines to know what to go from. Because I guess a lot of his stuff in films is improv, which I guess a lot of people knew. I didn't know, but I guess a lot of other people knew besides me. So, what did you guys think of Happily Never After? Do you like this film? Did my synopsis and also what I talk about a little bit help you guys out on what it was about? What do you think? Just leave your comments below and let me know, and comment on my other videos too, and let me know how things are going. All right. Okay then, guys. Well, till then, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review, and I will hopefully see you guys again soon with another movie. All right. Peace.